Welcome to the podcast of IPN Magazine. I'm Joanne Cox.
Hi, I'm Lynette Buchanan, and we'd like to welcome you to Let's Talk About It. Joanne,
Yes.
red light, green light.
What an interesting topic.
That's our topic for today. Red light, green light. And most of the time when we think about that, we think about driving our cars. We think about having to stop at the traffic light.
Mm-hmm.
And, we wait for the green light and we just go. Well, today, I want to talk about red light, green light in our lives, in our businesses, in the things that we do, that we go overboard and don't realize it's time to stop.
Okay.
Either it's time to stop to reorganize, it's time to stop to get our thoughts together, it's time to stop because we're overwhelmed. We have to take a moment to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we don't want to stop and stay there.
Yes.
We want to go again.
Okay.
So I want to talk about that in business. I want to talk about that in relationships. Things that we know we have a time period for some of the things, especially on our jobs. And when we do jobs, we might have a project that's due a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
We might want to talk about having meetings, and the meetings have to be timely. Those type things we already know. We already know that if you got a project to put out, you're going to put that project out by a certain time.
Yes.
But what about when there is no time and you're just getting things done, and you're getting not only my things done, I'm going to get your things done, I'm going to get her things done, I'm going to get his things done, I'm going to take care of the family, I'm going to do this, when do we stop?
Yes. Well, I like to give two instances. If you are an entrepreneur and you work from home, there's no, and you just want to finish this project, I'm going to stop at 3 o'clock and I'm going to do something else. But then you get into it. And because you're passionate about whatever it is you're working on, you just keep going. And you look at the internet and it pulls you in. And you say, I only have this much to cover. You're working for yourself. And you're thinking you're doing something great. But your eye strain is from the screen. It's starting to bother you.
Exactly.
But it's okay. You got the dry eyes. That is a red flag. And your red flag is the same as that stopping point. So why are we not listening to the red flag?
Well, a lot of times we're not listening to it because we do want to get more done.
That's what I'm doing.
We want to push it.
Yes.
We want to just keep pushing. And I had to literally, especially in the time of COVID, not so much that I'm retired as well, but in the time of COVID, I had to set up a schedule. I had to set it up and say at 5 o'clock, I'm not doing anything else. I'm going to work the regular hours that I used to work. From 9 to 5, I'm going to do certain things that I need to do in the business. And maybe go back later on at 7 to 8 because I write better in the evening than I do during the day for some reason. But from 7 to 9, or take my 2 hours, because I put in 2 hours every day of writing. And that's what I do. And I stay on schedule for the most part. Now, if it's a rainy day, I may go to the whole gambit because for some reason you don't stop.
Yes,
you don't. But we want to emphasize to everyone and us as well that if you don't stop, you're going to have problems.
You're going to have that pay for it.
A lot of times you find out that you work, and then you go back to your work the next day and it wasn't exactly what you thought it was going to be, and now you got to rework. You got to go back over it and do it again. Why? Because you become tired. You've been doing it all day long and you've become tired. If there is no time limit, especially as entrepreneurs, if we don't have a time limit on what we're doing and you haven't scheduled it properly, we could find ourselves in that problem.
And I said there was two instances. Another one is when you're really great at your craft.
Yes.
Everybody loves your work. You get egotistical and just you feel so good that Sally wants help from you and John wants help from you over here, and they can't wait for you to help with their project. Let's say you're a photographer and can you do this on the side? I'd love to work with you. And you just start to think that you can do all these things. But the red light is saying, how in the world can you be at all these places and take care of yourself, which is the priority of your job? That is what I call the stoplight, which is red.
Yes. And it's an overload.
And it's called knowing your priorities.
And the thing about it is that's an overload that you may have to take time to get started again. Because if you lose points where you are in your own projects to help someone else in their project, when you get back to your project, I know with me it's that way. I do it all the time, especially with poetry. I can't stop writing that poem and go do something else.
No.
Because if I do, my mind's it's gone.
The creativity
is lost.
Yes.
So a lot of times, depending on what your entrepreneurial path is, you have to realize, take care of you and take care of others in a timely fashion. Schedule it.
Yes.
Put it on a schedule.
And we talk about that all the time.
And stick to that schedule, because you cannot start to stop.
Yes. And on the other end of that, you said green light. Now, I know of certain instances where there are people that just can't get started.
Yes.
They've got planned out. They said, this is my strategy. This is how I'm going to get there. But nothing is happening. They've been planning for years.
What about fears? They're fear to get started. You have those that know they have it, know that they can do it, but they don't want to get the criticism. They don't want to get into someone else giving them advice.
Yes.
They don't want to get into, who do I talk to? And now I don't look like I know what I'm doing if I have to go to someone else. There's so many things that they don't want to get into. And then you have people that are in their ear telling them, well, you weren't born to do that. That's
it. That happens a lot.
Between
that instance and the perfectionist, because they feel that they're not ready yet. But what I would like to tell our viewers is, understand this: in any area that you're working in, if you just jump in, you will realize that you will grow and get better, and you're going to meet other people that are going to show you how to do different things.
Exactly.
And you are going to get better at what you're doing, and you're going to learn from your mistakes.
And not only that, take into consideration that your creativity has to fall into some type of format of something. An artist doesn't just sit down and draw on a piece of scrap paper and then sell it.
Right.
They have to learn what pencils to use. They have to learn what pads to use. How do they sketch it? There's so many different art forms. Where do they sell it? What is my market? Understand that once you become an entrepreneur, you now have a business. And when you have a business and you're an entrepreneur, you have to learn that that's a business. It's no longer your hobby that you do. It's no longer that you get up and do it when you feel like it. It has to have some type of structure to it. And in doing the structure, that's not about your creativity, because no one's trying to put that in a cage and structure it.
No.
What you're trying to structure are the things that you're going to have to do to promote it.
Yes.
You got to get your marketing together, your branding together. You've got to get a lot of things together. And in getting those things together, you may need someone else to do it.
And I want the viewers to also know, it's not just about being entrepreneurs. People that run a great household, they have a plan of action. They have a schedule. If you have children, you know there's so much you need to get done before they wake up or while they are asleep. If you have to run errands, you know that you've got to get there before the close of business, whether it's the bank or the cleaners. So it's still about that red light and green light. What are you going to do on certain days? You don't wait until you don't have any more clothes to wear.
Right, to do the laundry. And not only that, I remember the red light for me with my children when they were younger, especially during the week going to school. 7:30, 8 o'clock, we're getting ready to go to bed.
That's it.
Because that's the red light. That's the red light. I got to put a red light here. And then the green light would be, now I can clean up. Now I can get the kitchen prepared for the next morning. Now I can go and get my clothes out for me to go to work. I can do different things in the house because the kids are no longer underfoot.
Yes.
There has to be a situation where you stop and then you start.
Yes.
And it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's a thing of just being where you won't get overloaded. It doesn't bring on anxiety.
Right.
And you don't get pressured into being angry and frustrated that things aren't getting done.
Right. And just to summarize that up, we know now, pay attention to those red flags because red flags are the same as the red light.
Yes.
Know when to get up and go because that green light is going to get you started. So just jump in and feel the fear and do it anyway. Now, I know you want to end with that wonderful saying.
There's a quote that I have. Stop being afraid of what could go wrong. That's for those that are afraid of that green light. Start being excited of what could go right. So we're not telling you to stop and never get started again. Or stop and don't take a heed to what you're doing. What we're saying is red light, green light. Make sure you know when it's red and be conscious of when it's green. We want to thank you for being with us today on Let's Talk About It. I want to invite you all to subscribing. We want you to like us, comment, give us some thoughts, give us some topics.
Spread the word, and we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Rewind the track, yeah.